Witchcraft versus spirituality. Unlocking the Enigma. Discover the critical differences for success. Merry meet everyone. I'm Witch Hazel and I'm back with another video comparing and contrasting witchcraft and spirituality. Yes, I know, I'm venturing into beat a dead horse territory. However, given that these two terms can have vastly different meanings to different people, especially when we take into consideration cultural, religious, and individual contexts, I think there's value in finding multiple ways to discuss them. Keeping in mind that both terms are extremely broad and encompass a wide range of beliefs and practices, let's look at 5 areas where I believe there are critical differences between the two. Feel free to agree or disagree politely in the comments. But let's get started. Starting off, we have the nature of power and practice. This pertains to how these two trains of thought are typically viewed as achieving their goals. Witchcraft is often associated with the practice of using magical or supernatural powers to influence events or outcomes. It may involve rituals, spells, and the use of tools such as herbs, crystals, or candles. In many traditions, there's a focus on harnessing natural forces or energies. In a basic, antiquated sense, this is using preset sequences of activity to subdue or harness the energies of nature and direct them toward a desired outcome. In a broader sense, spirituality refers to a connection with something greater than oneself. It may involve a search for meaning, for purpose, or transcendence. While spiritual practices can include rituals, meditation, or prayer, they may not necessarily involve the intentional manipulation of supernatural forces or any direct association of divine or living forces present within the natural world. Next, we have religious framework. Some practitioners of witchcraft identify as a religious or spiritual path in itself. They essentially make no distinction between witchcraft and Wicca or other pagan traditions. In these cases, witchcraft is often intertwined with a specific set of beliefs, rituals, and deities. A variation on this, which I personally follow and believe, is to view witchcraft as a lifestyle and the religious aspect is optional. This view, which I often see highlighted in every witch on YouTube who starts a video with, "I'm not Wiccan, but," is far more in tune with spirituality. Spirituality can exist within or outside of religious framework. It is a personal and subjective experience that may or may not involve organized religious practices. People may describe themselves as spiritual without adhering to specific religious traditions. So, you see, for witches who believe witchcraft is inseparable from religion, this would be a sticking point. For witches who share my outlook, there is essentially no difference between witchcraft and spirituality. What do you think so far? Valid points? Not really? Don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying the conversation. Also, so you can continue to join in with these themes and thoughts. All right, so third, then there's the theme of intent and morality. Witchcraft often involves the use of magic with specific external intentions, such as healing, protection, or divination. The ethical considerations in witchcraft can vary widely, with some practitioners adhering to principles like the Wiccan Rede, which emphasizes harm none. Others on the other side of the spectrum, I guess, will actively cast curses against people they think have wronged them. On the spiritual side, while ethical considerations are important in many spiritual traditions, the focus is often on personal growth, self-discovery, and the development of virtues. Spirituality may involve moral principles, but not necessarily the casting of spells or the use of magical techniques. This is an area which I believe should be better incorporated into witchcraft. My experience has been pretty much exactly this internal versus external division between the two terms. So next we have community and social structure. Some forms of witchcraft, such as Wicca, have organized covens or circles with specific rituals and hierarchies. The community aspect is significant with shared practices and celebrations. This tradition began in the early days of neo-paganism and has some very interesting rationales based on the era, which, by the way, I would love to chat more about, so do let me know in the comments if you want to hear more on that. It's my opinion that the importance of the coven has been waning, especially in the last 10 to 15 years. Spiritual practices can be solitary or communal, and they may not necessarily involve a structured societal organization. Spiritual seekers may come together for shared experiences, discussions, or rituals, but the social structure is often more fluid compared to some witchcraft traditions. And lastly, deities and higher powers. Depending on the tradition, practitioners of witchcraft may work with specific deities, spirits, or energies. Some may follow pantheons associated with particular cultural or mythological traditions. My preferred pantheon, when I choose to work with one, is Norse, due to my Germanic roots. Most other witches who I've known have preferred the Celtic gods and goddesses. The concept of higher powers or divine forces in spirituality is often more abstract and personal. Individuals may connect with a higher power, the universe, or a divine source without adhering to specific cultural or religious deities. And there you have it. These were the 5 areas where I could see some pretty distinct differences between the two terms of witchcraft and spirituality. You can also probably see how similar they still are, despite these supposed distinctions. Maybe the most important thought to note here is the fact that everyone has the right to choose their beliefs and how they adhere to them. I'm a big believer in God speaking to us in whatever language and under whatever name we need to be receptive to him, her, or it. It seems as though the more I try to study this idea of spirituality or the institution of religion, the more it all kind of blends together. There seems to be a basic foundation shared by all human beings. This foundation is rooted in moral good, and until I become brave enough to read Nietzsche and his ideas on morals, I'm going to stick to that. When we start thinking on this theme and follow one thread of an idea to the next, it provides endless opportunity to examine our interconnectedness with the spirit realm, and no matter how complex that gets, we can always bring it back to a mysterious common thread that runs through all of us, connecting all of us, no matter how we conceptualize the world. So, whatever your opinion might be on the similarities or differences of spirituality and witchcraft, I hope you enjoyed today's video and will join me again for the next one. So until then, everyone, blessed be.